So yesterday, the Oscar nominations finally came out after being delayed because of the wildfires in LA. We finally got the Oscar nominations. And honestly, by the time the Oscar nominations come out, usually there are pretty much absolutely no surprises. I mean, there are definitely a few surprises here that I'm going to talk about. And every year, people are like, who cares about the Oscars? Who cares about the Oscars? Who cares about like all these rich people giving out awards and such? Who cares about it? Well, people do care when the movies are nominated, and they're like, why wasn't this nominated? Why wasn't this nominated? And I'm like, so, which is it? Do you not care or do you actually care? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But anyway, there are mostly non surprises here at this point. Pretty much, I look at some of these categories and I'm like, wow, like pretty much almost everything I kind of predicted. Don't get me wrong, there are a couple surprises here. I'll get into them. Best Picture has a couple surprises. And that was like the one category where I'm like, I think it was like Best Picture and Best Director. Those were the only two categories where I thought like there were a couple surprises. But we'll see. We'll see how this actually plays out, and I'll go through all the nominees themselves. I'll predict who will win, who should win. Um, kind of talk about like any snubs that were in any of these categories and such. But let's just dive right into it. So the nominees for Best Picture are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part Two, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Now, this is one of the two categories I was really surprised by because, like, for a while it seemed like, okay, these are all predictions that I kind of predicted. I predicted Anora, The Brutalist, Complete Unknown, so on and so forth. And then all of a sudden, bam, I'm Still Here is here, and Nickel Boys is here. I haven't seen those two movies yet, so I can't judge how they are as movies, or so I can't really say anything about them. So I'm very surprised. Nickel Boys, maybe I thought was going to get a nomination, but it seemed like it wasn't. It only seemed like it was going to get a screenplay nomination. And actually, that's the only other Oscar nominee it has, which I'll get into. And I kind of don't like it when movies only get like one other nomination other than Best Picture, which I'm Still Here has two other nominations. One of them is in the international feature category. And that's kind of surprising. As far as like anything here, I really enjoy seeing The Substance here. If you had told me back in September when I saw that movie, it's like this movie was going to be nominated for Best Picture, I'd be like, okay, you're crazy. I mean, I really like the movie, and if you saw, I initially put it on my Best of the Year list last year at number one. I don't know if I would put that number one now. Maybe I would actually put The Brutalist at number one right now. But I do think that it's very interesting to see pretty much all of these. It's pretty interesting to see that movie there. There are only a couple surprises. I guess my if I had to take out I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys and replace them with two other movies, I would have put A Real Pain and Sing Sing here. I feel like those two probably would have been my picks. But this is mostly all right. Like most of these movies here, I did like. I really liked The Brutalist, The Complete Unknown, Anora, The Substance. Wicked was pretty good. Dune Part Two was pretty good as well. The Substance again, really loved that movie. Amelia Perez, I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding that movie, and I did watch it. I didn't review it, but I thought it was just all right. Like nothing groundbreaking or amazing. Like the acting was decent at least, and you'll see there are a couple acting nominations for the movie here. But it also has the most nominations, which I'll kind of talk into a little bit towards the end of the video. But what do I think deserves to win? What do I think will win? I think The Brutalist deserves to win it. But then again, with all the AI controversy that's going on with that movie, it's going to be a little tough for that movie to actually win. Do I think Amelia Perez will win because it has the most nominations? Not necessarily, because like sometimes the Oscars do go with the movie that has the most nominations, but looking back into it, most of the time they actually don't give it to the movie with the most nominations. So it could go either way. Right now, this is actually a category that I think is very wide open, so I won't be surprised with whatever wins. I think it's mostly down to The Brutalist, maybe Amelia Perez. I would have said Conclave like a few weeks ago, but as you'll see in the Best Director category, Edward Berger is not nominated. So right now, I don't know what's up. I honestly don't have a what will win. Honestly, I'll have to wait until like what the Screen Actors Guild said because like that's normally the whatever wins like Best Cast that usually winds up winning Best Picture. Meanwhile, let's move on to Best Director. We have Sean Baker, Honora, Brady Corbett, The Brutalist, James Mangold, A Complete Unknown, Jacques Aridard, I'm probably mispronouncing that, the director of Amelia Perez, and Coralie Forgeot for The Substance. That last one I was so happy about. I thought she did an incredible job with that movie. Also, I'm really glad to see James Mangold get a nomination. He is a fantastic director, finally getting recognition. And I'm glad, even though I don't really agree with the nomination per se, I'm glad he got a nomination. But I think right now this is going to go to Brady Corbett. Again, despite all the AI controversy, who knows if that will actually have a lot of merit. There's always controversy with every Oscar ceremony, no matter what, and the films are nominated. Right now, I'll go with Brady Corbett for the win. I think he will win it. And honestly, who should win it? I would go with either Brady Corbett or Corley Forgeot. Those were my two favorite movies of 2024. Moving on to Best Actor, the nominees are Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, and Sebastian Stan for The Apprentice. There are not really too many big snubs here. I was figuring, okay, the first four, I was like, okay, those first four are likely going to be nominees. I also thought Daniel Craig could have been a nominee for Queer, but I honestly thought that movie was just okay at best, but and also kind of just really strange. But um, I thought like that movie didn't really have enough buzz, and there was like so much buzz for Sebastian Stan that I'm like, yeah, I think he's gonna get the nomination over Daniel Craig. So it really doesn't surprise me that he actually did get that nomination, even though it's for the movie that he didn't win the Golden Globe for. He won the Golden Globe for A Different Man, not for The Apprentice. I did see The Apprentice, and I didn't review it because like it was about you know who, and I didn't want to talk about that movie in per se. I thought the but I will say here, I thought the acting was good, I thought the style was good, but the movie would constantly pause for an inside joke that I thought like kind of took the flow out of the movie. So I didn't necessarily love that movie so much. But I do feel good. I'm happy for Sebastian Stan. He got an Oscar nomination at least. So who do I think will win? Who do I think should win? Honestly, I'd be fine with either Adrian Brody, Timothy Chalamet, or even Ray Fiennes winning this. Unfortunately, I don't think Coleman Domingo has a chance. I think the nomination itself is more of the win here. And I don't think it's just Sebastian Stan's going to win this, unfortunately. I think if I had to choose, I would choose actually Timothy Chalamet. I thought he was incredible in Complete Unknown. I would have said Adrian Brody after seeing The Brutalist, but looking into, again, the AI controversy, it may be a little. Also, Adrian Brody is also the only person in this category who has won an Oscar. So maybe they'll see that as like saying, hey, you already won, so why don't we give it to someone else? But then again, that didn't stop last year with Emma Stone winning. So moving on to Best Actress, we have Cynthia Erivo for Wicked, Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, Mikey Madison for Honora, Demi Moore The Substance, and Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Few interesting things in this category. Fernanda Torres is nominated for I'm Still Here, which I predicted like after she won her Golden Globe, and her mother was actually nominated in this category almost 30 years ago, which was very fascinating. Carla Sofia Gascon, the first transgender performer nominated in an acting category. Congratulations to her. I do think that of the anyone who was snubbed in this category, they weren't that big surprises. Nicole Kidman being snubbed for Baby Girl, not a surprise to me. Angelina Jolie being snubbed for Maria, not a surprise. Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl, not surprising. Upsetting, but not surprising. I did see that. I thought she was really good in the movie. As I did predict this category easily. Like I thought of all the categories, I thought like this was the one that was just a lock. All five of those performers I thought were the nominees. But if I had to choose who I thought will win and who should win, Demi Moore will win. She has that momentum. She has that moment where it's like it's kind of her time. It's kind of like a career achievement at this point. Honestly, it is an incredible performance. I would have said like Mikey Madsen a few weeks ago, but honestly, now that Honora kind of like unfortunately kind of fizzled out, I don't think she will get the Oscar win, which is upsetting. I do think admittedly Honora does have a better performance in its lead character than Demi Moore, but Demi Moore has more of a narrative, so I feel like that's where it kind of lies. Best Supporting Actor, we have Yura Borisov for Honora, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Edward Norton for A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce for The Brutalist, and Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice. Another category where I mostly predicted this. I would have. I didn't. I was surprised by Jeremy Strong, but I guess I'm not too surprised. I would have imagined Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing getting a nomination here, or maybe even Denzel Washington getting a nomination for Gladiator 2, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But Denzel Washington already has 2 Oscars, so I think he'll be fine. As far as this category goes, no real surprises, but I think it's going to go to Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain. I thought he was incredible in A Real Pain. I did like all these other performances, mostly like Guy Pearce was very disturbing in The Brutalist. Edward Norton looked like he was having a lot of fun in Complete Unknown. Yura Borisov was decent in the movie. Yeah, I think it's going to go to Kieran Culkin. I think he's been winning so many awards. It's like it's kind of like this is going to be like the first award of the night, honestly, because like everyone knows it's going to go to him. I think he will win. Who should win? Either him or Guy Pearce, honestly. Best Supporting Actress. The nominations are Monica Barbaro for A Complete Unknown, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. Another category I predicted pretty easily. There are a couple snubs here and there, like Margaret Qualley for The Substance. That's not too big of a surprise, honestly. But if I had to choose like who will win, it's gonna be Zoe Saldana. Kind of like with Kieran Culkin, she's been winning all the awards for this movie, and honestly, I think this is gonna be one of the few Emilia Perez wins that will probably not make people mad. I thought she was decent in the movie. I don't know if she was like great in the movie, but I do like her as an actress at least. I thought Felicity Jones was better. I thought Ariana Grande was surprisingly better. Monica Barbaro was surprisingly better. I would say Zoe Saldana, in my opinion, is only a little bit better than Isabella Rossellini. But at the same time, I think Zoe Saldana is likely going to win this category. Meanwhile, let's move on to Best Original Screenplay. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Real Pain, September 5th, and The Substance. Mostly predicted this category pretty easily. September 5th was the one where I'm like, I don't know if that's going to get into it because like that doesn't really have a lot of buzz, and admittedly, I had to see that movie at a mystery screening. So the movie itself, that's not really surprising, but it's its only nomination. Meanwhile, for Best Original Screenplay, if Anora is going to win an Oscar, I imagine the Best Original Screenplay is probably where it's going to actually win it. Um, Either that or The Brutalist will win. I would love to see The Substance win. Even though there's actually not a lot of dialogue in that movie, it's surprising that it still got a screenplay nomination. If I had to choose what will win, I think The Brutalist will win, but I think Anora should win. Just to kind of give it like the Academy usually likes to be democratic and like give their awards to a bunch of different movies, even if it doesn't really deserve it. But I do think Anora does have a pretty strong case for its original screenplay and at least giving it something. So let's give it that. Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. This is another category I kind of predicted pretty easily. There were no real surprises here. Some people wanted to see Wicked and Dune. I didn't think either one was going to be nominated, unfortunately. But yeah, this is pretty much what I predicted. And again, Nickel Boys, this is the only other category it's in, which I honestly feel annoyed every time a movie is like, hey, we love this movie, we'll nominate for Best Picture, but let's put it in only one other category. That doesn't really make sense to me. But I digress. Conclave is going to win this. I think it has the best chance of actually winning an Oscar here. It's probably its best chance. I don't see Ray Fiennes or Isabella Rossellini winning their Oscars, unfortunately. And I'm honestly surprised that Conclave did not get more nominations, but I'll talk about that towards the end. I think Conclave will win. Should win. I would either go with Conclave or Complete Unknown. Now let's move on to Best Animated Feature. The nominations are Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. I have not seen Memoir of a Snail or Wallace and Gromit yet. If I had to choose, I'm going to go... I would love to see The Wild Robot win this one, but Flow won the Golden Globe, and that kind of happened last year. Boy and the Heron won the Golden Globe, but Boy and the Heron went on to win the Oscar, actually, over Spider-Verse. So right now, I'm going to give Flow the nomination, the win itself. I would love to see Wild Robot win, but I don't know if it will after it lost the Golden Globe. Normally, I don't put stock into the Golden Globes, but it's a pattern. It's a real pattern. Meanwhile, Best International Feature Film, we have Emilia Perez from France, Flow from Latvia, The Girl with the Needle from Denmark, I'm Still Here from Brazil, and The Seed of the Sacred Fig from Germany. The only ones I've seen in this category are Emilia Perez and Flow, and I think Flow is a better movie. But Emilia Perez will likely win this one. Either that or I'm Still Here because they're both in the Best Picture category as well. I can see Emilia Perez winning this one because it has more nominations, and it kind of seemed like the front runner. So Flow, I feel like should win. I thought that was a great movie. Emilia Perez was just an okay movie in my opinion, but that will win likely. So I'm just going to skip the documentary categories. I'm going to skip the short categories. Let's move on to some of the specialty categories. For Best Original Score, the nominations were The Brutalist, Conclave, Emilia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. Should Wicked really be nominated for original score? It is based off a musical. But anyway, it's not going to win. So if I had to choose, I would choose between The Brutalist and Conclave. I think either one will win that category. I would love to see The Brutalist. That score was just incredible. So I think that should win. I think that will win. Best Original Song, we have El Mal from Emilia Perez, The Journey from the 6888, Like a Bird, Sing Sing, Mi Camino from Emilia Perez, and Never Too Late from Elton John, Never Too Late. I think they only nominated that just to get Elton John at the Oscars. But I think this will probably go to one of the songs from Emilia Perez. I haven't really listened to any of these songs other than the ones from Emilia Perez, so I'll give it to El Mal because I think that's the one that won the Golden Globe. So it's kind of a lazy win. Best sound, the nominations are A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot. I think this could go to either A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, or Wicked even. I feel like none of these movies would really be that surprising if any of them won. Let's move on to Best Production Design. The nominations are The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. I think this is probably one of the better chances of Wicked winning an Oscar. Like a lot of the specialty categories, I can see Wicked sweeping them. I would love to see a movie like Dune or Nosferatu or even The Brutalist win. But I think Wicked is going to win this category. Best cinematography: The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, Maria, and Nosferatu. Brutalist is going to win. I don't really see anything else winning. I believe Dune Part 1 won the Oscar when it came out for Best Cinematography, but I just can't really see anything other than The Brutalist winning this category. Best makeup and hairstyling, we have A Different Man, Emilia Perez, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked. The Substance should win this and will win this. Just the makeup by the end of the movie, it's just incredible. And even when Demi Moore's still slowly turning into a monster and such, that makeup is still really incredible. I'm actually real glad to see Nosferatu here, but The Substance will likely win this one. Best costume design. The nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Gladiator 2, Nosferatu, and Wicked. Another chance for Wicked to probably win another specialty category, which, I'm okay with. Best film editing. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, and Wicked. I think The Brutalist will win this, and I think it should win this. For a movie that's 3.5 hours long and I never felt the runtime, it deserves it. And the last category, Best Visual Effects. Alien Romulus, Better Man, Dune Part 2, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked. Surprisingly, a lot of monkeys in this category now that I realize it. Also, I did see Better Man. I thought that was a really good movie. As far as who I think will win this, I think Dune Part 2 will probably win this one. It's its only likely chance of actually winning an Oscar this year. I think Dune Part 1 won a bunch of Oscars the year it came out, so the fact that Dune Part 2, which I think is a little bit better than Dune 1, is a little disappointing. And this is its only chance to actually recognize it, unfortunately. So with that in mind, Amelia Perez with 13 nominations, The Brutalist and Wicked with 10 nominations apiece, A Complete Unknown and Conclave with 8 nominations apiece, 6 for Honora, 5 for both Dune Part 2 and The Substance, 4 for Nosferatu, 3 for I'm Still Here, Sing Sing, and The Wild Robot, and 2 for The Apprentice, Flow, Nickel Boys, and A Real Pain. Most of these are not very surprising. I didn't expect movies like A Real Pain or Sing Sing to get a whole lot of nominations, but I also expected them to be nominated for Best Picture. I actually predicted Nosferatu would get 4 nominations. I'm really glad to see The Substance get 5 nominations. Dune Part 2, I'm a little upset that got 5 nominations, but I feel like that movie also came out incredibly early, so by the time all these other movies came out, like The Brutalist and Wicked, it kind of lost a lot of steam at that point. 6 for Nora, no surprise. Conclave, I'm actually surprised that didn't get 10 nominations. Again, Edward Berger was not nominated for Best Director. Complete Unknown getting 8 nominations. I'm happy about that. I really like that movie. The Brutalist and Wicked getting 10 nominations apiece, not very surprising. And Amelia Perez getting 13 nominations. Okay, that's a little surprising. Okay, I predicted to get at least 10 nominations, Best Picture, Director, International Movie, Supporting Actress, so on and so forth. But 13? Wow. That is a lot for that movie. And I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding that movie. I personally thought the movie was just okay. I think it's the weakest of all the Best Picture movies I've seen so far. I wouldn't go as far as to say I hated that movie, but I don't know. I feel weird about it because, maybe I'll rewatch it again. I'm definitely going to rewatch all these movies and eventually watch Nickel Boys and I'm Still Here for the first time. So closer to the ceremony itself, I'll probably rank all 10 Best Picture nominees. So it's kind of weird. I feel like it's weird because there's no real major front runner this year. I know The Brutalist and Amelia Perez won a bunch of awards so far, and they look like the 2 front runners right now. And there's so much controversy whether it's the content of the film or a creative choice that was made, in cases both. So it's going to be a controversial year. I feel like no matter what wins, there's going to be some sort of outrage. Even if something Wicked does, I don't think Wicked really has a chance to win Best Picture. But can you imagine if Wicked did win Best Picture? So many people would be mad about that. But, stranger things have happened at the Oscars. But yeah. So those are my thoughts on this year's Oscar nominations. What do you think? Are there any surprises, snubs? Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. This is Pats, and stay safe.